going on. So today, we're going to decode that overwhelming funding environment and really transform it into a clear, actionable strategic playbook. We're stepping away from all the chaos and building a direct, logical path to help you scale your vision. To do that, here is our roadmap. We'll start by tackling the wall of noise, then define the actual startup tools at your disposal. After that, we'll build your decision-making framework, navigate the unique 2026 landscape, unpack the founder's strategic playbook, and finally, wrap up with your immediate action plan. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the wall of noise. Before we even think about building a strategy, we need to validate exactly how you're probably feeling right now trying to get your company off the ground. It's just a wall of noise. I mean, when you're constantly hearing about accelerators, incubators, government grants, angel networks, and venture studios, it usually leaves founders feeling completely blasted. It's honestly the default feeling in the startup world today. So if you feel like you're just staring at endless disconnected options without a map, you are definitely not alone. But, we can't just stay stuck in that confusion. Our whole goal in this explainer is to cut straight through that noise and replace it with a focused, highly effective strategy. Success today means knowing exactly how to pick the right resource for the specific stage your company is at, and more importantly, understanding how to actually leverage it for tangible growth. Moving right along to Section 2, defining the startup tools. Okay, before you choose a path, you absolutely must understand what the vehicles actually are. Let's look at the classic difference between an accelerator and an incubator. Think of an accelerator as a fast-paced boot camp. It's usually 3 or 4 months designed purely for speed and scaling an idea that already exists, usually ending in a big pitch day. On the flip side, an incubator is a much slower, more open-ended environment. It's really focused on hatching an idea from scratch. They serve entirely different stages of your startup's lifecycle. The crucial thing here is understanding the distinct trade-offs of each tool. Accelerators give you seed capital and a great network, but they're going to demand around 3 to 8% of your equity. Incubators might just charge you fees without taking a slice of your company. Venture studios, they'll actually embed their own engineers and marketers right into your team, but in exchange, they're taking a much larger equity stake. And then, of course, you have grants. These are the magic words, non-dilutive funding. You get the capital to support your R&D, and you keep 100% of your ownership. Knowing exactly what you're sacrificing for growth is the absolute foundation of your strategy. But hey, never underestimate the human element in all of this. Did you know mentored founders actually achieve 3 times better outcomes? It's wild. Investor networks and accelerators provide what we call smart capital. It's not just a check, it's their expert advice, their massive Rolodex of connections, and their credibility transferring directly to you. Honestly, this is often the most valuable part of the entire exchange. All right, on to Section 3, the decision-making framework. I want you to actively play along with this thought experiment right now. Think about your startup today. What is your single undeniable need? Is it just raw cash to keep the lights on and survive? Is it expert guidance because you're totally stuck on product development? Or is it the network you need to reach those crucial first major customers? You really have to identify that one critical bottleneck, because your answer dictates your path entirely. This is the priority matrix. Every single day, you are weighing capital, network, and mentorship against your willingness to part with your equity. If expert guidance is your absolute top priority, then trading a little equity for a top-tier accelerator makes total sense. But if you fiercely need to protect your equity and simply need cash to fund some heavy research, well, you should be hunting exclusively for non-dilutive government grants. Your number one need dictates the tool. And remember, actually, scratch that. It's crucial to remember. This answer might completely change in 6 months. That brings us to Section 4, navigating the 2026 landscape. 60%. Let that sink in. A staggering 60% of Y Combinator companies this year are expected to be AI-focused. This single statistic is a massive flashing sign showing exactly where the gravity of the market is pulling right now. We are seeing these major, specialized accelerators popping up exclusively to fund and support AI companies. So what does this mean for you? Well, because the generalist programs are leaning so heavily into AI, you must be incredibly targeted. If you're an AI founder, you're looking at places like Excel and Google Atoms. But if you aren't building the next big AI model, you need vertical-specific programs. If you're in health, look at Halcyon. If you're specifically in mental health, look at SeedSpot. You have to find those niche programs that are explicitly searching for your exact type of solution. Okay, let's level up with Section 5, the Founder's Strategic Playbook. This is where it gets really fun. It's fascinating how we can elevate those foundational choices into pro-level advanced tactics. You can dramatically extend your runway using what we call the stacking strategy. Basically, you don't just pick one route. You pair an equity-based accelerator, which gets you the network and that vital seed money, with massive, non-dilutive resources. For example, imagine securing $150,000 in Azure and OpenAI credits from Microsoft, and then stacking that with $200,000 in cloud credits from Google. You're literally stacking these resources to artificially inflate your runway without giving up a single extra percentage of your company. It's brilliant. And that brings us to an incredible pro move, all about timing. If you time your VC pitch right after announcing a major grant win, let's say something like the Braze Tech for an Equitable Future grant, you are leveraging that external stamp of approval. Think about it. A major grant tells venture capitalists that a serious, rigorous organization has already vetted your idea and put money behind it. You walk into that pitch room with massive leverage to negotiate a vastly superior valuation. Now, we've got to talk about the traps where this playbook can go completely wrong. Fatal flaw number 1. Chasing the brand name. Please beware of chasing a shiny logo just to slap it on your startup's website. You have to verify if the program actually offers structural support for your specific industry. We see founders get in, give up a chunk of equity, and then just suffer through incredibly generic mentorship and terrible post-program support. Don't let vanity drive your strategy. And then there is fatal flaw number 2, the grant timeline trap. Look, government and foundational money moves at a snail's pace. It just does. Don't let slow grant payouts kill your startup because the cash finally arrives 3 months after you've emptied your bank account. The solution here is to build a blended capital stack. Mix in venture debt or revenue-based financing to bridge that cash gap and keep the lights on while you wait. Simply hoping the check arrives in time is not a funding strategy. A blended capital stack is. Finally, let's bring it all home with Section 6, your immediate action plan. Let's wrap up this explainer by giving you some hyper-specific marching orders. I really want you to follow these 3 precise steps to stop endlessly reading blog posts and start taking strategic control of your future. Step 1, open a doc and be brutally honest with yourself. Write down your number 1 undeniable need for the next quarter. Step 2, based entirely on that need, create a custom shortlist of just 3 to 5 laser-focused programs. And step 3, reach out to an alumnus. And I'm telling you, step 3 is literally the ultimate cheat code. Reach out directly to program alumni to hear about their actual experience. Send a quick DM, ask for just 15 minutes of their time. This is exactly how you bypass the polished marketing copy and get the absolute unvarnished truth. Ask them bluntly, did the program actually help you raise your next round? Was the mentorship real or was it just fluff? So I want to leave you with this final critical thought. Which specific tool are you going to leverage today to cut through the noise and scale your vision? Armed with this matrix and this playbook, what is the single most important move you will make right now to transform your startup's trajectory? Don't let the ecosystem overwhelm you. Choose your tool, make your move, and go build something amazing.
Welcome to Startup Founder Best Practices. Glad to be here tonight. Looking forward to a great event. We have a great guest tonight, and definitely very excited about that. And he's very special. He's here with us, even though his power is off tonight. So that's pretty amazing. Hey, Robert, how are you?
We're doing good. It's good to see you again this evening.
So definitely give you kudos for being able to having a backup plan, I guess, as they say.
Yes, sir. As about an hour before we were supposed to get on, we've got a storm going through the neighborhood, and the powers went out, and I said, "Uh-oh."
That's pretty amazing. I hope the weather doesn't get too bad there, because we definitely want to hear all the good stuff you want to tell us about. Yes. And let me you go ahead and take just maybe a minute or two to kind of introduce yourself, pull your profile up here. So if you would go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So my name is Robert Doyle. I'm right here in the state of Florida. Actually, just celebrated 13 years of being here in the great state of Florida. Originally, a young fella from the west side of Chicago. That's what I tell people sometimes.
Oh, wow.
I'm just a poor boy from the west side of Chicago.
Right.
But really excited to be here. I came to Florida because I had an opportunity to serve as the director for the Florida Division of Blind Services. I spent about 12 and a half years serving individuals who are blind and low vision in this state. I had about 300 employees across about 18 district offices and providing services to over 30,000 individuals every year, serving individuals from babies to seniors. And if you ever stopped at a rest area, say, for example, in the state of Florida, you were supporting a blind operator that we license and train through our
Wow.
Division of Blind Services. But again, I grew up in Chicago, spent some time in special education, in the legislature, and that's what I've done professionally. Personally, I'm a husband, father of 9 children. We've got 3 grands and a couple foster children as well.
Wow.
Do some ministry and some other things on the side. But for me, it's all about service. It's all about making a difference, and as John Maxwell says, adding value to people's lives. So that's kind of my mission in life.
Well, that's a great mission, adding value to get some good returns, because people like things that give value. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I'm going to just give a little shout out to some of our folks that have supported us in the past and supporting us now. These are some of the folks that have partners with us in the past and continue to partner with us, and definitely want to acknowledge them. Just so we're not an island to ourselves, is what I say. Definitely give a shout out to Goody Nation. They've been around quite a while. They actually helped us with our workforce stuff, Robert. That we were able to get into their program, and I learned a lot from it. We had accountability sessions every Monday or every other Monday or something, and it was kind of embarrassing sometimes to see other folks doing so well, and I was, Kikuyu Institute struggling, but I was able to pick up the pace a little bit. And and Black Innovation Alliance, that was formed after the George Floyd thing, and so that's a neat organization that support Black founders and organizations that support Black founders. Right here in Florida, Robert, we have this thing called the Black Innovation Leaders of Florida, and so I'm a member of that, and they provide some pretty good programming, and our main training thing for startup founders we use is the Lean Stack, which is evolved to the Lean Spark, where leveraging the AI stuff. So those are up on the top row of some of our partners as well, and these some of the folks that support us financially. And we have a annual Founders Innovation Summit, and these are some of the supporters of that have supported in the past. So it's pretty amazing the kind of support that we get being a small organization. And so my focus in the organization is leveraging these different training programs to help founders kind of move forward. The Founders Inside OS, that's ours, and the Startup Science, that's a pretty neat platform as well. We make that available to founders. It's like a whole ecosystem in a box, and it's more about the phases your business go through and what you should do in each phase, and it's mainly geared towards going from a vision to an exit. The guy who created, he had 12 exits totaling several $1 billion. So everything he learned, he put in that training program. So that's like really neat thing. So it's like I said, the ecosystem in a box. It's got training. What do they call? A lot of in-kind services and free software, discounted software. yeah, and then got a whole big old money directory, whether you're looking for investors, grants, and programs and stuff like that. So you definitely can't go wrong with those kind of resources. And I love Lean Stack because it's an established framework uh, for how you grow a startup from an idea, to getting product market fit. But it's the structured approach that we follow. It's based on the book Running Lean and Scaling Lean. But I like it because it reminds me when I worked for the government, doing research for the Department of Defense, working for the Air Force, and so we did a lot of multi-million-dollar technology development programs, and all the stuff we did had never been done before. It's just like building a new startup, some new technology, and so we just followed the process. We didn't know if we could make it happen or not. So, but we did have a methodology, a process we followed. And in the startup world, the Lean Stack has the process that you can actually follow. So you know where you are in the process, and that's the neat thing there. Yeah, and so we started this event on Thursday night, back August 13, 2020. And so next month we'll be having our 6-year anniversary, and we missed one event in 2020. We haven't missed another one since. So we got we got over 260 consecutive events.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're definitely serious about helping founders. But I was talking to one of the folks in the networking over the weekend during office hours, and basically the lean canvas is kind of like the language of the ecosystem. So when you want to get into these programs, pitch competitions or programs that give you money, you have to, when you fill out the application, you have to talk about your business and basically what's in that lean canvas. And if you don't do that, they'll just say you're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's what it really boils down to. So that's what our training programs are about: getting people so you know how to communicate, to take advantage of all these programs that are out there. And so I guess you're gonna tell us about another program that founders and business owners can leverage tonight. So we definitely excited about that. So what I wanted to do next is just maybe just go through a little your story, so people understand you didn't just happen to be in this position you're in. And so what's your journey been like, from like high school, college, or whatever? What did you ever see yourself in a role like you're in today?
No, not at all. I'm glad to share. As I mentioned, I'm just a poor boy from the west side of Chicago. So we grew up in the inner city, and thankfully, we were able to grow and had a father at the home, and just teaching us a variety of business skills and things like that growing up. But when I left, when I graduated high school, from Thornton Township High School in Harvey, Illinois. I originally didn't go right to college. It wasn't something that I had immediately on my pipeline. But eventually, as a young man out there in the streets, I became a young father at about age 20, and then quickly found myself actually as a single father. I had a young girl, one young daughter, and through circumstances and things like that, ended up going to court and getting custody of my daughter. And one of the things that did for me is that really motivated me that I needed to do something for this young lady. I needed to do something in my life. And so I met some people that were working at a community college, and she was like, "Robert, you need to go back to school." And so she began to talk to me about going back to school. And so eventually I did. And I found myself, I think I was about 20, maybe 22 years old when I went back to school. because I knew I needed to do something. Maybe 21, I needed to do something. I quickly went through, got involved, in student government, student campus senate, and all of those different things, and just really got focused in a lot of those things in the community. And quickly, found myself, student body president and student trustee, and some leadership opportunities and things opened up to me shortly after I met my wife. And here's the thing that kind of got me in the disability world, because the work that we're doing now. I met my wife in Houston, Texas, and she came back to Illinois with me, and she was working for the Office of Disability Studies. And so she would read books and things like that for students into the cassette. And so I would help her do that. And then I was also on the student government as the president. And so I was able to leverage the resources of being student body president and work with the disability office. And over years, that ended up coming back to be opportunity for me. I ended up moving to Philadelphia some years later with a guy named Paul Vallis, who ran the Chicago schools. And we did some work with him in Philadelphia in the special education office. And then eventually, I'm trying to celebrate the story here, but eventually I ended up running the division of blind services in the state of Delaware for about 4 years before the opportunity presented itself here in the state of Florida for me. So again, it wasn't a path that I had envisioned, a path that I planned, but a path that the Lord made available to me over the years. And like I said, I really would have been doing this job till I was 65, 67 years old. And except for, you think about like your founders, there's a drive to do something different, right? There's a dream, there's a vision. And I felt the Lord was calling me in a different direction. And so this program here that I'm working with now gave me an opportunity to be able to venture in some other things and help people in some new ways.
Yeah. So I downloaded your LinkedIn profile and uploaded it to ChatGPT and had it analyze it. And so I want to see if I can show you the results of the video that came out of that. I analyzed it, and I want to see what you think. So far,
I'm gonna take notes.
Yeah, let's see how much evidence of your journey was in your LinkedIn profile. So sit back for a few minutes here. Let's see what Notebook LM had to say.
Welcome to This Explainer. We're going to kick things off today by really challenging our perception of what a standard career profile actually looks like. Have you ever looked at a resume and suddenly realized, wait a minute, I'm not just reading a chronological list of jobs here. I'm looking at a master blueprint for systemic change. Well, today we're diving deep into a fascinating analysis to deconstruct the operating system of Robert L. Doyle III. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. First, we'll look beyond a standard resume, then move to the architect's authority, outline a reusable operating system, uncover the hidden layers, and finally look at the value for founders. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Beyond a standard resume. Philosophy of impact. So to truly grasp the impact of a career like this, we really have to look past the everyday job titles, right? We're looking for that core philosophy driving this professional. And we can find it in Robert Doyle's own words. When you remove barriers and create pathways, people achieve remarkable things. Now, this isn't just, some inspiring quote to slap on a wall. This is absolutely the anchor for his entire career trajectory across 4 different states. Literally every initiative, policy change, and budget expansion stems directly from this exact belief. The analysis defines him not just as your traditional workforce professional, but as a barrier to pathway architect. Think about that for a second. He's a leader who actively engineers systemic solutions. He takes these incredibly complex inputs, like public policy, specialized funding, and employer partnerships, and he converts them into highly measurable, competitive employment outcomes for individuals with disabilities. He doesn't just manage the system, he literally architects the pathways right through it. Moving right along, Section 2, the Architect's Authority, Hard Data and Outcomes. Now, looking at his 12-plus years directing Florida's Division of Blind Services, the hard data absolutely proves his methods work. Just look at this number, a massive 30% increase in competitive integrated employment outcomes. And this wasn't just a slight bump in the metrics either. This increase drove a historic peak of 942 job placements in a single year back in 2022. That means nearly 1,000 individuals successfully navigated the pathway he helped architect directly into competitive integrated workforce roles. That is huge. But hey, to scale that kind of impact, you obviously need serious resources, right? Well, under his leadership, the agency's budget peaked at $82.5 million. That is over 40% growth. And he achieved this massive financial expansion not by accident, but through highly strategic legislative partnerships and performance-driven advocacy. It turns out when you can actually prove your programs work, you can secure the funding to grow them even further. So let's see how this builds into his current work. He's now bringing this exact same authority to Florida Atlantic University, driving the workforce strategy for Access Tech. Now, this is a massive $10 million Department of Education-funded initiative. It's completely focused on preparing individuals with disabilities for high-demand, high-paying tech careers. We're talking cybersecurity, cloud computing solutions, 3D printing, the whole 9 yards. He is essentially applying his barrier to pathway architecture right at the absolute bleeding edge of the tech industry. Okay, Section 3, a reusable operating system, the 5-step machine. Let's really dig into the intellectual meat of our explainer here, the actual methodology behind all this success. It's a remarkably precise, repeatable 5-step machine. Step 1, identify a structural barrier. This means recognizing that people aren't failing because of a lack of ability, they're getting blocked by inaccessible systems. Step 2, mobilize resources. 3, build a pathway around that specific barrier. 4, connect people to that training and employment. And finally, step 5, institutionalize the model so it can operate at massive scale. So you see, it's not just about running a one-off program, it's about building a sustainable, long-term system. Now I want you to notice how he executes step 2 of that system, mobilizing resources by breaking down silos. He successfully aligns domains that historically operate in total isolation from one another. He brings together federal and state funding, employer relationships, assistive tech, and training institutions. A perfect example from the source text, he actually pioneered the first successful match of vocational rehabilitation funds with Community Reinvestment Act resources. It's like a giant puzzle, and he sees the whole board, making all these disparate pieces work together seamlessly. And doing all of this requires a real mastery of policy-to-practice translation. His unique strength really lies in understanding both how public policy is written and exactly how workforce programs must operate in the real world after that policy is adopted. You know, many leaders understand service delivery, but they don't get the legislation. Others know the rules inside and out, but don't understand employer operations. Robert's ability to translate complex legislation into tangible, everyday employer operations is a genuine rarity in workforce leadership. Moving to Section 4. Uncovering the hidden layers, diverse identities. True systems-level leadership is incredibly multifaceted. Yes, his visible identity is a workforce leader who led state blind services. But if we look deeper, we see so much more. He's a policy strategist who negotiated administrative rules in Illinois. He's an entrepreneur who's successfully run a coaching and consulting business for over 20 years. He's a communicator, specifically a certified John Maxwell speaker and a senior pastor. And he's a coalition builder who secured groundbreaking bipartisan workers' comp legislation. All of these diverse identities perfectly equip him to act as the ultimate translator. He can communicate effectively across the pulpit, the legislature, the nonprofit sector, and the corporate boardroom. And finally, Section 5, Value for Founders, Applying the Blueprint. So what does this all mean for you as a founder or as an ecosystem builder affiliated with organizations like the Kukua Institute? Let's contrast these two paradigms sharply. Over on the left side, we have the old, outdated view, treating inclusive hiring merely as a social value or just a charitable act. But on the right side, we see Robert's operational approach, treating inclusive hiring as the strategic design of work, technology, and systems so that talented people can actually contribute effectively. He forces startups and employers to treat inclusion not as doing someone a favor, but as a fundamental core market and design capability. And this is exactly why accessibility is a massive competitive advantage. It's a technical profession, a strict compliance requirement, a product development necessity, and honestly, a huge competitive differentiator. As solid proof of this, Robert actually pioneered the nation's very first state agency-led web accessibility specialist registered apprenticeship program. Look, if you are building a tech startup, integrating this kind of highly specialized talent means you're building better, more accessible products from day one, which essentially opens up entirely new markets for your business. It's a real game changer.
What do you think, Robert?
I'm impressed. I want to hire that guy.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah. That was a combination of your resume and my prompt that I used to analyze anything from articles to transcript from conversations, websites. It literally reverse engineers everything and find the structure, the patterns, and everything. you, so did you recognize the patterns in there?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, I don't know that, I don't know that if I was writing those things out myself that I would have written out, but I certainly could recognize the patterns and
Yeah,
see the step from step to step.
yeah,
But I love it. It was really good.
yeah. So like I use that same kind of prompt to figure me out too, and so one of the patterns that I found about me that from before elementary school to now is that I reverse engineer everything, and so I never thought about it that way. So like I used to tell these stories like my mother would let me go to certain neighbors' house because they were bad people. And so I reverse engineered that. So she said, if I wanted to be successful, I need to hang around successful people. You see what I'm saying? And
Yes.
just reverse engineer it. And so analyzing my prompting habits and the way I think, it literally explained to me. I got that from when I was before elementary school when my mother was doing days work. I think we talked about this, doing days work, and she brought home these toys, but they were broken because the kids had threw them away and so she would bring them home instead of dumping them in the trash, and so my younger brother and I, we would fix them, but you literally had to reverse engineer it in order to fix it.
Right, right.
But isn't that amazing, that pattern? I didn't even know it was a pattern until like a few months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of cute, and I brag on that prompt a lot, and I named it after the founder that sort of taught me I learned from her prompting method, and her name is Lanika, and so so I named it my Lanika system. Yeah. All righty. Let's get to this Access Tech and find out all about it. Yep. And let's get the folks up to speed on that so they can see how they can use it. So, audience, if you got any questions, just feel free to chime in. And we also will answer questions just generally about startups as well. We had a good networking session today, trying to answer some questions, and so that's what we're here for, to help you move forward.
Excellent. Well, thank you again. And so, as you mentioned, I'm now working with a program out of Florida Atlantic University. It's called Access Tech, and I've been working there for about 6 months now. And it was, such a strong project that it actually pulled me out of my comfort zone of what I have been doing, over those last 12 and a half years. Mm-hmm. So the job I did at Florida, we received funds from the federal government, U.S. Department of Education Rehab Services Administration. And what would happen is that every year there was a situation where states weren't able to match the dollars that they were required. And this comes into, building complexities in terms of policies and dollars and matching and those kind of things. So the folks at FAU wrote a grant and says, hey, we can use some of those dollars. And so what they did is brought this program to the state of Florida under a $10 million grant. Dr. Aisha Torres is our lead principal investigator for this program. And it's all about looking at high-tech careers and helping people with disabilities to be able to get into those high-tech careers. Because, there's a story in VR, and you've been working some of these systems for a while.
Yeah.
They say food and I forget what the three things they say they usually put people into when they have disability: food, filth, and something else, right? But but the point is that giving people access to jobs in high demand fields is critical. And we know You talk about AI. AI is certainly expanding, and AI is gonna, you know, as I heard you say before, if folks don't get with AI, then it's going to create scenarios where they may be displaced. But
Yes.
but it will displace in some areas. But what Access Tech does is it takes some career fields that are it's essentially, you know, AI proof. When I think about cybersecurity, you know, even in the cloud computing areas, and you're taking and training an individual with a disability, and again, these
Yeah.
could be all kinds of disabilities,
Yeah.
on how to be certified and to enter into these jobs is really exciting. So you stop me at any time as I go along the way.
Yeah. So, well, I'll just, you know, say like one of the strategies for especially Black founders and small Black business owners is a lot of the programs that the state and the federal government has, that they're, you know, it's hard to take advantage of them. But a program like Access Tech, where there's no threshold and you can get somebody working for you for 20 hours a week for a couple of months to support what you're doing. And especially every business needs cybersecurity. You know, like, and then if you're doing any kind of, a founder tends to be developing applications that are hosted in the cloud. Yep. And then the 3D modeling that comes in handy. We got a lot of inventors out there, and they need their stuff modeled, and then all the autonomous vehicles, all the autonomous everything, it gets modeled in simulation before it actually goes out in the real world. And so that's, you know, those are definitely a good three fields to get help at.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what I love about the program? You talk about those three fields. You know,
Yeah.
our program starts after going through a screening process for
Yeah.
the individuals that are applying, right? So we screen. Not everybody who applies gets into the program, but people who have the aptitude and the mindset. And you know, we actually spent about 8 weeks initially with the students, giving
Okay.
them soft skills.
Yeah.
Skills, because that's what we hear a lot of employers say. Sometimes people have the technical skills, but they don't have the soft skills. And so we give them those soft skills, and then we also are working with them where the individuals choose what track they want to go in. Is it cybersecurity? Is it cloud computing? Is it computer aided design with 3D printing? And so we take them through the training. We'll help them with not only the learning aspects, and then we test them on the testing and the testing and the testing, and then we'll cover the cost of their certification. And then when they're done, to your point, right, they need some experience. And
Yeah.
so we talk about startups, you know, oftentimes may not have a lot of capital. Or listen, one of the things I found in my career, right, the right talent on the team makes an absolute difference.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a few weeks to kind of really get to know the individual. Is this person somebody that I want on my team? Is this somebody who's contributing to the work? And so, you know, from the Access Tech pre-screening to the soft skills training to the technical skills and certifications we give them, then we allow the founders to be able to test, and at no cost to the founders, to be able to take on an intern for 8 weeks at our dime. And so when I say our dime, we're covering the stipend or the salary during that 8-week period of time. Give you a chance to try, you know, before you buy, so to speak. Have them help you with different projects and things like that. And then if that person is valuable, and as I'm seeing in a number of situations, businesses are looking for ways that they can go ahead and hire that individual because they're so pleased with the work that they're doing for them, you know, after they've done their internship.
Yes, that's so. Like, basically, we have two situations here. We may have some people out there that may want to get the training, and then we may have some founders and small business owners that may need to, you know, have somebody come on board for a couple of months to help flush out something for. I know here at the Kukui Institute, we leverage, you know, not a lot of the workforce programs from, I think we started off with AmeriCorps Visitors, and then, you know, we did independent contractor type stuff. We worked with Voc Rehab. We worked with Career Source. I mean, you name it. We leverage these different workforce programs to create curriculum, for our young folks, and on and on. Like, so I have like leveraging this workforce program with the career source in the county, at Escambia County. And so we got, I guess, and Voc Rehab as well. So we would, including all those things, we have like over 20 people here that are working from 20 to 30 hours a week, supporting the building infrastructure we need here at the Kakua Institute. So it's definitely a way to move forward, with your business and grow your business.
Absolutely. And so, for the participant, right, they're gaining skills, getting experience. And for your business, you're able to, like you say, take a project and start moving it forward. You're able to, I'm thinking about the way you're using them at the Kakua Institute, right? You're benefiting because they're helping you, but you're benefiting the community. And so it really does become, a win-win-win scenario for the individuals, for the organizations, for the communities, for the families that these individuals are from as well. One of the things that I didn't mention is that, about a third of the individuals in our program are also veterans. And so, folks who have served and are now looking for, meaningful ways to contribute in these high-tech career fields. If you don't mind, I want to share a quick story about a young lady. I had a young lady, veteran, and she came to our program. And just at the very beginning of the program, I was chatting with her, and she told me she had a degree in cybersecurity. And but she said, I haven't been able to get a job. And so I'm looking at her, at all the training, I'm looking, one, at her experience serving our nation. Number two, I'm looking at the fact that she's got a cybersecurity degree. She's got all of these other certifications, and she's having trouble getting into a career path. And so what I said, even though you're still going through your training, you haven't got our certification yet. I want to help you find an internship. And so I got permission from our program's leadership, and we began to share her credentials with a number of different employers. And it didn't take us long where she couldn't get experience before. She's in an internship now. She'll be wrapping that up in another month or so. And then this particular organization that she's working with is not in a position to hire her this time. But now this trained veteran who's actually finishing up her bachelor's degree this month as well is going to be in a place or position where we're going to find her a job. And I spoke with her a little bit earlier today, and I said, our goal is to help you locate something before your internship is over, so that she can look at, you talk about removing barriers and pathways, right? Looking at somebody who couldn't get into a doorway, who's now having very much success where she is, and she's got a commitment of our support to help her locate a job by the time her internship is over. That's
a pretty neat story. So Christian is they're running a Department of Labor apprenticeship program for AI solution specialists. That sounds pretty spot on, huh?
It does.
And so he's got a lot of things going on there, and so he's asking a question here at the end: for founders who already have structured training infrastructure in place, what is the fastest path to becoming a qualified host employer for Aztec's placement? So it sounds like he's ready to take on.
And I love it, because that's where I am, right? From somebody who spent, majority of my career in government, although I've done some private sector stuff as well. One thing I wanted to do is remove government as much as I could from this process, in the sense that, sometimes processes can take a while. And so, with our program, if you're interested, I'm gonna drop my contact information in the chat box. But if you're interested, what we're looking for from our whole sites is we're looking for someone who can give the individual some experience in their area, maybe have a mentor or supervisor that can spend maybe a couple hours a week with the individual, give them some things that are going to help them practice those skills. But literally, we've been in situations where we've had an intern start, the next week after we talk to that employer. So it is really possible to do so. And so, we'll have a conversation. I can share with you our snapshots, I call it, of our internship ready individuals. And then we've got some of the employer ready as well. And then what we do is from there, you look at the snapshots, you tell me which ones you want to look at their resumes. If you want to do an interview with them, we can coordinate that interview. And then when you're ready and that individual's ready, we've got that internship starting. And again, I've seen it happen in as little as a few days. And depending on, what needs are there for each. One thing I didn't mention is that our program is available nationwide, right? So we've got students from across the nation providing learning remotely, and also remotely providing support. There are opportunities if there's a person in your local community that we're serving that we may be able to have them do some on-site, but this is a program that's available across the nation.
That's really, really fantastic. So Christian, the short answer is he's saying right now. Yes. And so, and that's one of the things we like to do here at the Kukui Institute is connect founders and people with resources. And so there's Robert's information right there. So that's the name of the game, because what I tell people is the government has funded so many programs, you shouldn't have to pay for any kind of training or anything, because if you just look around, there's free training out there. And then so like with founders, the startup ecosystem, you just have to realize the ecosystem has a lot of resources, but you have to open your mind up, to realize these resources are out there to kind of help you move forward. And so, yeah. So, but the bottom line is that is a pretty neat deal there. Yeah. So I'm wondering, that chat thing should have went out through all those different channels there, but yeah, we'll I hope it went out to all the Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn channels as well. I just didn't. I guess when I do a post, it goes out to all the different things. I didn't see it pop up when you did it, Robert. Yeah, but I appreciate you sharing that information there. Let's see something. Let me see if I can copy it. Okay. Nope, I don't see where I can copy it. But yeah, that's we'll make sure people. So Tony said it's not on YouTube.
Let me try to put it in this other box here and see if that does it.
Yeah, put it in the private one, then maybe I can copy it from there. Okay, it looks like I can copy it from there.
Yeah. Format doesn't come over the best, but the information is there.
Yeah. Okay, here you come. Hope Tony, let me know if you get this out there on YouTube. I just happened to notice that because typically it does. Yeah. Yeah, so it's going out there now. Yeah, to all the different medias. Okay, yeah, but so that's good. So this hasn't really came up. So based on you haven't told me no yet, I'm assuming you do work with nonprofits with your program as well.
Oh, absolutely. Every sector, public, private, not profit. We want to work with everyone, because people ultimately, when they go in the workforce, they're gonna be working in all areas, and people in all areas need cybersecurity, cloud computing, and computer-aided design support. So absolutely.
I'll tell you one thing about folks don't realize about nonprofits, and they so we, like as a nonprofit, you get free cloud service, and from Microsoft at least. But I'm sure if a person doesn't learn AWS, it's not going to not be too hard for them to figure out the Microsoft things platform. But our nonprofit has a AWS account and a Google one, and we host a lot of stuff on the Microsoft Azure. But man, just to build out your infrastructure there, that's pretty neat.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, I want to share another resource. I'm not sure if your community knows about it. Have you worked with TechSoup at all, or have folks worked with TechSoup? All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you can mention it because some people may not be familiar with it.
Yeah, TechSoup is an organization that supports nonprofits, and I mean everything from software and hardware and your website design and things like that. They're all about supporting a nonprofit organization. They want you to verify, but then discounts and different things like that to help those organizations to be successful.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I was noticing that, so please continue to ask questions, and just imagine what you can actually do, have one of these interns do. It's pretty, yeah. So it's definitely, yeah. So that I just think it's a fantastic program. I know with the Kaku Institute, we definitely going to have some conversations with you, Robert, about partnering to really make sure your people get out there and actually get some meaningful on the job training to kind of move these opportunities forward. And your program is unique in that the interns can actually work remotely, and so that's pretty unique. And so when I was doing the analysis of the documents you sent me, and of course, you know, my AI tries to reverse engineer it. They try to figure everything out. But it says you were actually doing these people a disservice by calling them intern with all the credentials they have. And man, it's like really, really amazing. Yeah. The credentials these folks have. Yeah. And so I'm because with all these credentials and military experience in some cases, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, if you all had a glimpse of, and I shared them with Lloyd last week of some of the credential sets of the folks that we have. Like you said, it really is a disservice for many of these individuals. We've got a Bronze Star, Medal of Honor recipient, folks again with multiple degrees and then multiple certifications. It's just individuals. I talk about one young lady, just super. She's a superstar. And we're talking about people with disabilities, a variety of disabilities.
Yeah.
But this one individual who had a very successful career in a big state in the utility sector, but then she started experiencing some hearing loss. Not totally deaf, but some hearing loss, and so it made it more difficult for her to be in the big city settings. And so she's converted her skill set to back office, cybersecurity, and those kind of things. But remarkable young lady. And again, she's super bright, being tremendously successful, and she's someone else who will soon be finishing up an internship and looking for full-time work as well. But again, the skill sets are there, and again, it is somewhat of a disservice to call them interns.
Yeah, that because based on the analysis. And believe it or not, my analysis actually picked out the interns that I needed here at the Kaku Institute.
You better grab them because you got others looking at that list too.
Yeah. So I'll make sure we I guess we got a meeting planned for Monday, but and so I look forward to getting the process rolling there, to kind of move forward. But yeah, I think it'd be great to kind of work with you all to help your program be successful and to move forward. So I got the president of the Minority Chamber trying to reach me, and I'm saying he knows I do this every Thursday night.
He's calling, I need my intern.
Yeah, but I'll give him a call. Hope everything's okay. He's a good guy. Yeah, so I did based on the two documents you sent me, not the ones with the the interns on it. I can share that video if you like. It sort of did a good job as well. I can't remember if I analyzed it. I think I did. Yeah. So if you want to take a few minutes to do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's see what we got here. It actually is a little longer, but I think it's worth it.
Welcome to this explainer on Florida Atlantic University's Access Tech Initiative. Look, if you've ever felt the absolute headache of filtering through hundreds of resumes only to end up with candidates who just don't have those practical, real-world skills, well, this is definitely for you. Today, we're unpacking a highly structured, direct pipeline that's literally designed to hand you certified, truly prepared entry-level tech talent that perfectly matches what your organization actually needs. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the overall Access Tech pipeline. Then, we'll walk through their 5-phase training pathway. After that, we'll dive into the 3 specific talent tracks: cybersecurity, cloud computing, and CAD. And finally, we'll cover exactly how you can partner with them. All right, Section 1, the Access Tech Talent Pipeline. Let's start with what this actually is and the tremendous institutional backing behind it. Now, you need to know right off the bat that this isn't your typical university career fair where you're just, collecting a stack of resumes. Access Tech is a full-blown end-to-end workforce development project spearheaded by Florida Atlantic University. They are essentially doing all the heavy lifting for you, recruiting, training, certifying, and ultimately placing highly skilled technology candidates straight into your operational teams. So by the time these candidates reach you, they're already totally up to speed. In this number right here, 10 million. Access Tech isn't some tiny experimental pilot program patched together with spare change. No way. It's fueled by a massive $10 million 5-year grant from the U.S. Department of Education. To put that into perspective, that's the budget of a pretty solid indie movie, but it's entirely focused on candidate readiness. This guarantees that serious, sustained resources are dedicated to thoroughly preparing these folks before they ever even knock on your door. Moving right along to Section 2, the 5-phase training pathway. Let's break down exactly how this preparation happens. Think of this 5-phase pathway like a tech boot camp on steroids. It completely guarantees that you aren't just getting good test takers who lack real-world polish. First, there's a rigorous pre-screening. Then, they spend 7 to 8 weeks in what's called tech prep, mastering absolutely crucial soft skills, teamwork, and communication. Only after that do they tackle 3 to 6 months of intense technical training, which is then followed by up to 15 weeks in a paid internship. So by the time they reach Phase 5, job placement, they are truly seasoned professionals. Okay, Section 3, cybersecurity, securing your infrastructure. Let's explore the first of our specialized talent tracks. If your organization needs to fortify its defenses, this track is incredibly compelling. These candidates acquire DoD-aligned expertise by earning the globally recognized CompTIA Security Plus certification. And just look at the balance in their training. Alongside threats and architecture, a massive 28% of their knowledge is laser-focused on governance, risk, and compliance. They truly understand the strict rules of the road, whether we're talking HIPAA for healthcare, GDPR for privacy, or PCI for credit cards. That is absolutely vital for any modern enterprise. But here's the thing. Access Tech knows that theory just isn't enough. Beyond the textbook, these candidates are put through their paces in some seriously rigorous hands-on labs. We're talking actively scanning for vulnerabilities and remediating them. They're out there configuring identity and access management and multi-factor authentication. They're handling SIM triage, working deep within Active Directory, and even diving into digital forensics and encryption. They get their hands dirty way before they ever touch your live environment. The crucial takeaway here is that on day 1, these individuals are prepped to generate immediate value. They can jump straight into your Security Operations Center to accurately document incidents. They can take over IAM administration tasks, review firewall rules to make sure they actually align with your policies, or help your team gather evidence to prep for a stressful compliance audit. They are ready to contribute, for sure. Let's transition to Section 4, Cloud Computing, Architecting on AWS. This is our second specialized talent track. For any organization migrating to or expanding in the cloud, this pipeline is a total game changer. These candidates come armed with the official AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner credential. They possess a rock-solid foundation that's heavily weighted toward practical application. 36% on core AWS services and another 25% on crucial security and compliance frameworks. They inherently understand the well-architected framework, the shared responsibility model, and how to effectively navigate regions and availability zones. And once again, the hands-on lab experience here is super extensive. These candidates aren't just memorizing what an EC2 instance is, they are actively launching and securing them. They're applying encryption to S3 buckets, crafting least privilege IAM policies, and configuring virtual private clouds and subnets. They even set up CloudWatch monitoring alarms and dive right into Cost Explorer. They know how to build in the cloud, and just as importantly, they know how to monitor it. Now, of course, every new hire benefits from structured internal onboarding to learn your specific setup. But these Access Tech graduates, they are ready on day one to handle essential cloud operations. They can step in immediately to inventory and tag resources, perform vital least privilege IAM audits to keep you secure, and generate cost reports so your cloud spend doesn't just spiral out of control. Moving on to Section 5, CAD, Designing the Future. This is our third and final talent track. If you're in manufacturing, engineering, or product design, you're going to love this. These candidates hold the highly rigorous Certified SolidWorks Associate credential. It proves a totally balanced and comprehensive skill set. 30% of their expertise is dedicated to core 3D part modeling. 25% goes to crucial technical drawings and assemblies, and the rest covers sketching fundamentals and advanced modeling features. Basically, they understand design intent from the very first sketch. And the hands-on application? It goes way beyond basic shapes. They are literally assembling functional mechanisms. Think car linkages or bank vaults right there in the software. They even work on advanced industry applications like medical exoskeletons and underwater robots. They take these highly complex designs all the way from the software layer to a final physical 3D printed product. What this means for you is that they can step into your engineering or design department immediately to create precise 3D parts directly from your specs. They can run interference detection on complex assemblies to catch errors well before prototyping. And they can produce comprehensive, accurate engineering documentation, including bills of materials. They truly get designed for manufacturability. All right, finally, Section 6, Partnering with Access Tech. We've seen the quality of these candidates, so how do you actually tap into this pool? It's a completely fair question. $10 million of training is amazing, but what exactly is the program asking from employer partners like you to turn on the tap to this pipeline? Well, the ask is incredibly straightforward, and it's designed to integrate smoothly right into your existing operations. We're simply asking you to provide work-based learning pathways. This could be hosting paid internships, on-the-job training, or apprenticeships. You just pair the candidate with a mentor or supervisor, provide them with structured workplace tasks to practice their skills, and then ultimately consider them for direct, full-time tech hires as they wrap up their placements. And here is the absolute best part for your bottom line. Remember that $10 million grant? It actually covers the stipends and wages for all first-time Access Tech interns. Just let that sink in for a second. Partnering with Access Tech is a financially supported, incredibly low-risk way to trial exceptional talent right in your actual workplace environment. You really don't have to struggle to find qualified entry-level talent anymore. You can set up your organization's pipeline right now by reaching out to Robert L. Doyle III, the Senior Administrator for Workforce Strategy and Engagement. You can shoot him an email, give him a call at the direct line shown, or just visit the Access Tech website to get the ball rolling. The resources have been spent, the intense training has been completed, and these candidates are waiting. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. Will you seize this fully funded opportunity to integrate day one ready talent into your teams, or will you let this incredibly skilled pipeline pass you by and go straight to your competitors? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.
Wow.
That was good.
But yeah, so that's why I say it's a pretty cool program. It's definitely amazing. I definitely want to commend you for reaching out to us here at the Kukui Institute so we can be a part of it. Yeah.
We appreciate the opportunity to share with all of your startup founders. Glad to talk to you more about internship or direct hire, OJT, where we can provide some funds to help offset salaries and in the beginning if you're doing a direct hire. But there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of options to work with, and we're glad to work with folks.
Yeah, and I did have a question I was doing a little research on the different websites, and is there any relationship to you all's program with the state vocational rehab program?
That's a great question. So remember, I was a voc rehab director for 16 and a half years between the two states. When you talk about blind services, and I've got a lot of relationships with a lot of VR directors now, and so we partner with those VR directors. If there's a client that's in the state, if they're a VR client, we'll work together with the VR agency. Let's say there's an accommodation that's needed that the employer is not able to do, or sponsor, or there's things that the employer is not able to do. We'll partner with VR in order to do that. So we ask our participants, if they're working with VR already, to connect us with their counselor so we can work in partnership together for their success.
Yeah, so that sounds pretty amazing itself. I had a software developer that finished up, I guess, last week, and he developed applications for us and deploy them to both Google Cloud and Azure. And I'm thinking, I didn't get a chance to work with him on deploying stuff to AWS, but that would probably be some nice experience for him to kind of go through you all's programming and get some help there, because he definitely knows how to program. What I see, what a lot of these people, especially developers, they want to make sure they understand how the program, and so like I had to kind of get him to understand and learn how to still learn but leverage AI to do these AI enabled applications. Mm-hmm. And so that's very critical right now. So I can tell folks from my experience, you have these students and these on-the-job training folks, they don't understand the significance of AI and how, having an AI-enabled application. And I'll give you an example. We had a student that transitioned out of high school to college last summer, and he built us a learning management system. So this guy's had been programming since he was in middle school, and he didn't trust AI to do anything. But what he didn't understand, and what the new people I've been working with don't seem to understand either. Now, if you build this learning management system, and I have to go through there and generate all the reports and analyze all the data myself, that ain't going to work for me. I need to stand to keep track of the students, their progress, and and everything, and see how well they're answering the questions, and So it's kind of funny, the students here this summer, so they always have to have proof of work, and so so I have them put their work assignments, the results in a proof of work folder. And then I have the AI go analyze the folder to see how well whether they did the work. Because you think, 20, 24 people, how am I going to analyze how well all these people are doing? And then, so we're wrapping up next weekend with the high school and college students. And so they all have projects. And then so I had the AI create a deliverables spreadsheet so I can keep track of their deliverables as they were the progress they're making. And so this thing automatically just shows me what percentage points they have, and I can tell if the ones that are not doing anything. They don't realize that you may think you're smart sitting around on your phone, but if you don't got no proof of work. Yeah. But that's the whole thing about getting these AI enabled applications is, companies need, you can track whether people do work, but you need to track how well they do it. Right. Yeah. And so I can't wait till one of the graphic guy comes in. I was sharing the story before you got on. He's struggling with editing the videos. And so I said, well, I know it's not that hard. And so since everything's AI enabled now, so I just started prompting to tell the AI what I needed to do. And then it struggled a little bit, and then it figured it out. And then I said, well, just write me a prompt, because I got several more videos that I need to do the same thing with. And so it wrote the prompt. And so now I can just load the video and run the prompt.
It's done.
Yeah, but yeah, that's and all these Silicon Valley's companies, they're making these AI-enabled applications. And if you're a founder and you're not building an AI-enabled application, you're making a mistake. Yeah.
And you mentioned AI, if I can, real quick. That one of the things that Access Tech is doing as well is we're actually we're working on building an AI component to the training. We talked about those 3 tracks.
Yeah.
And what we're looking at doing is offering for our completers an AI training that's kind of a bonus to those completers, which creates a bonus to the employers that are either hiring them or taking them in for internship. So we know that there's no, I would say, industry recognized certification for AI right now. However, right, we're trying to get them some core skills to go along with those other skill sets that they bring to the table, so that they are able to help create economies of scale, like you're doing.
But I'll make sure when you come by on Monday, I'll make sure I'll make you aware of the ones that I'm familiar with, the AI certification. But I think I work with these students and founders, and so like it's just people don't realize how much they actually know about the AI stuff already, because like we were talking last week, it's trying to emulate your brain. So if you understand a little bit how your brain works, you already know how AI works, because it's trying to do the same thing. And so it's like, yeah, you could go a long ways fast once you kind of, understand that. And yeah, and so, but yeah, definitely looking forward to partnering with you, Robert. Do you have any last minute comments you want to lead the founders and the audience?
No, I just want to thank you again for having an opportunity to join in tonight. I'm looking at my face a little bit on here, and I'm looking at all the shine. Remember, my power went out, and so I kind of got a little makeshift, plug-in generator.
I want to commend you, because the average person say, "Oh, my power out. I'm sorry, I can't do nothing." You were ready, so I guess I'm going to go out and buy me a power backup, because you set the example here. No excuse, even if the power goes down. And that, believe it or not, that was the reason why we missed that one event, was because the power was out, but it was out for 2 weeks for everybody.
No. Well, I'm glad I didn't break your streak tonight. No, I thank you so much for letting us be here. If folks are ready to partner, to intern, to hire, shoot me an email. We can talk tomorrow. We'll talk tonight, and get things moving forward.
Yeah, because you all can tell Robert is serious, and he's not half-stepping it at all, and he's going to make this thing happen, and I'm going to help him make it happen. All right. And so when we sign off here, if you can leave your computer on a little bit, just so it can finish uploading your local recorded video, and then I'll make sure I share that with you in case you want to reuse it for something else. Yeah. All right. We appreciate you. Next week, I'm going to have my daughter on. She's visiting from Freetown, in Africa. And so she was going to tell us a little bit about doing business over in Africa, how different it is, and and just to kind of give you an idea about that. And then the week after, we're going to have another AI governance thing on. We had a founder on last week, and by the way, I'll probably connect you with him, because he also has a security operations center that he trains people to, in cybersecurity and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure he could actually use some interns as well to help him with the students and stuff like that.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Take care, man. We'll see you on Monday.
All right. We'll see you then. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.